Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome back to MCubed. I am your host, Harris. And it's not Tuesday, it's Wednesday, but we're doing a movie Tuesday because yesterday I was too caught up in good old movie Tuesday. And, of course, with the things that are out in theaters at the moment, you know what I had to check out. Oh, I got myself on in the background just to make sure we're on. And I was echoing over myself. Good thing I can't copyright myself. But anyway, the things that are out in theaters right now. Yesterday, I had to do a movie Tuesday. I had to go check out a movie for a nice discounted ticket price. Ooh, howdy, howdy, Shelly. And what movie did I go see? I had to go see Cocaine Bear again. We went with a couple people that hadn't seen it yet. I saw it with two of my friends that went to go see it with me last week, and then we I think added two or three other people that came with us. So we had a good little crew in there. It was a lot of fun. You know, movies with people always just make movies that much more enjoyable. But a movie like Cocaine Bear with a bunch of people, it's just it doesn't get better than that. It's so much fun. And Cocaine Bear is kind of the perfect thing. It's raunchy and it's a little R-rated for sure, but it's like PG-13 in kind of its own way, and it's kind of like, I wouldn't necessarily say it's good for the family, but if it's PG, like if you got a 13, 14-year-old or older, it's good for the family, and it is just the most fun thing possible. But before I guess we dive further into movies today, I might have to discuss a little Star Wars, as you know, because I got my Kyber crystal around me like I always do. I didn't see the Darksaber, the only Kyber crystal that would pop up, I guess, in yesterday's episodes of Star Wars, and The Mandalorian, of course. But that's okay, because we got a freaking awesome episode. There was so much going on. It felt a little bit like Jurassic Park. It felt like Pirates of the Caribbean at times. It felt really like Star Wars again. I felt like there were a couple moments that were just perfect for toys. Obviously, little Babu Frick, the Babu Frick species with Grogu was hilarious, and then Din putting Grogu inside of his little ammo belt was obviously adorable. They'll sell some good toys like that, but they were great shots, and it was just such a joy to see little Grogu and Din on an adventure together again. That rhymed. I did that unintentionally, but it worked, so I'm going with it. I was ecstatic coming back from Cocaine Bear, going right into Mandalorian last night, and then after Mandalorian was an excellent episode of The Bad Batch. I know people are a little wishy-washy on The Bad Batch, mostly because it's a kids show, and yeah, it's going to prove that it's a kids show and do kids episodes occasionally, which I don't mind. I like those little fun adventure-filled episodes because later on in the season and in the series, we know very well with Dave Filoni's and Justin Ridge and all these other different people they have on their storyboarding teams and their writing teams in general, they're going to have kind of their one-off storylines as the seasons progress, but they mean so much more further down the road because every story means something. It pertains to the overarching story. Star Wars is great at that for the most part, and Filoni's team is particularly good at that with animation, so I've got no qualms there. But last night's episode was great. The Zillo Beast was awesome, and I want to see the Zillo Beast again. I like this terrifying, creepy empire, and I also like the Mandalorian jumping in there and bringing us more Western stuff. Because yes, there was a lot of Western stuff too in Mando, and you know I'm a Texas boy, so that made me happy. But that's enough of that. If we want to talk more Star Wars, we can always talk more Star Wars. And I'm assuming this Sunday on Sidetrack, I don't have a big zipper, but Sidetrack down there, I got my Sidetrack shirt on down here. On Sunday on Sidetrack, we'll probably talk a little bit about The Mandalorian, I'm assuming. I know we're going to talk a little bit about Stargate, but we might push it back to talk some Star Wars. I don't know. We'll talk with Jamie. We'll see. But let's talk about Movie Tuesday, because that's what we're here to do. We're here to talk about box office. We're here to talk about what we're seeing, what we're getting discount movies prices for, and what we're possibly going to go get discount movie prices for in the mornings of the weeks. Because mornings, you get discount tickets just as much as you do on Tuesdays. Every Tuesday, all day, you have discount prices. Typically, it depends on the theaters, of course, but most chains are really good about it. And not only Tuesdays have discount prices, but every day has a price if your theater still does morning movie showings because sadly, people just don't go to the movies like they used to. For the most part, it's changing. People are coming back into it. They really want to be in those environments again, which I'm ecstatic about. But because people haven't been going for so long, morning showings are dying out. So if you want to go see cheaper movies and see these really good movies for cheaper prices, go in the mornings, go on Tuesdays. Keep giving these theaters incentive to give us cool things. Come on, why not? Why not? It's you're gonna watch it anyway. Better go see it with people instead of on the couch. There's a proper way to do things sometimes. But alas, let's dive in. Also, I keep waving this around. I just donated some blood today. Had to get my blood tested and drawn first and all that stuff. Which is why I am tardy. I think I said that in the chat already, but I took a dab after getting home, and I was like, oh God, I need food before I go anywhere. Zach Milne talks movies. Howdy, man. Hey, let's talk some movies. Nothing wrong with that. That's kind of what we're here to do. But yeah, so speaking of movie talking, let's jump on in. I've got all the movies in the theaters right now. Not really, but I got a good portion of them. And I've got their weekend box office. I've got how many screens they were at and their average dollar earnings per screen. And then I also have their domestic totals and their worldwide totals at the moment. So we're just going to dive in. I actually have seen, I think, about half of these, and I should have seen all of them. I try to be good about seeing all of them, but there's a lot of things to see. I can't see everything. So I'll skip over the ones kind of briefly and just kind of give you the details on the ones that I haven't seen, but the ones that I have, we'll delve a little bit, huh? All right. So up first, I haven't seen any of this trilogy. I do like the entire cast, but I don't really have a reason to go see a Magic Mike movie, so I haven't ever seen a Magic Mike movie. But Magic Mike 3, Magic Mike's Last Dance, got $2.85 million in its third weekend this past weekend at 2,918 screens with an average dollar per screen of $978, which isn't too bad for something that was not advertised at all and did really well over Valentine's Day weekend. So they released it in wider release than they expected to. So it's kind of making more than they thought it would. I'm not entirely sure what the studio's mindset was behind this one and just their marketing and how they released it. But it's making some money. Good for them, right? So that actually brings it to $23.13 million for the domestic total and $48.39 million for the worldwide total. So, it is making legit money that they did not expect it to make because we haven't in the last year, thankfully, really been last year it stopped. We stopped getting streaming and released in theater movies simultaneously, and Magic Mike was that, or was planned to be. So I'm glad it's not that. So next movie, I've also kind of skipped. I like Tom Brady, but I'm not a big Tom Brady guy. He's not my go-to guy. He's the GOAT in many ways, of course. We can always say, but 80 for Brady. Got $1.9 million this weekend in its fourth weekend, and that was at 2,397 screens with $793 at each screen. So once again, for a $24 million movie, which I can't believe that movie cost $24 million to make. I haven't seen it, but I just can't imagine a movie with – okay, it might have cost $24 million to get Sally Field, Jane Fonda, and Lily Tomlin. I forget the fourth lady. But, it's got to be surprisingly decent to be making this type of money. And everybody that I've known that's seen it has enjoyed it. So good things from it. It's made $36.5 million domestically so far and $37.04 million worldwide. So I guess it's only made $1 million outside of the US and Canada. So it's probably not that wide of a release. But on a $24 million film and in its fourth weekend to still be making money, still be making almost $2 million. Hey, Tom Brady's jumping into, I'm assuming this is actually Tom Brady's, don't quote me on this one, but I'm assuming this is him and his new production company's probably first feature film that's not involved with a documentary or a biopic of some sort. And this is like their first film just to kind of do something fun and interesting. And it's a successful venture. So Tom Brady's new production company's gotta be happy about this one, and Tom Brady himself gotta be happy about her. So next up, there like the title says, there's a lot of cocaine this weekend. There's a lot of Quantumania this weekend, but there's a Jesus Revolution, and I might check this one out because I believe it's Kelsey Grammer that's in this movie. It made $15.8 million this weekend in its first weekend. Did you think it was going to make $15.8 million? Because I didn't think it was going to make $15.8 million. I thought it was going to probably make 5 to 8. Probably 7 was that like sweet spot I was guessing. Maybe 10. But 15.8, almost $16 million. Wife saw it and said it was good. Good. That's interesting. I know next to nothing about this movie. I guess I've seen 2 or 3 trailers, and I still don't really, I guess. It wasn't one that I was really super excited for, so I guess my brain just didn't remember that much from the trailers. But it didn't look bad. I like Kelsey Grammer, so I'm glad to see $15.8 million. It was in 2,475 screens for its opening weekend, and now this is good. Its average dollars per screen was $6,384. That's a full theater, every single theater it's in. That's nice. That's cool. That's fun to see, because if you're seeing, once again, movies with a big crowd of people, it's so much more enjoyable. So that's what 19.16 million worldwide. So I guess it got released outside of the country and made $4 million as well, because that's worldwide's not including, I guess, Canada and the US. Where are these movies releasing that they're only getting $1 to $4 to $5 million worldwide? Because you'd think they'd still do kind of well in like Europe or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep rolling down. I haven't seen this one either, and I think this is the last one that I haven't seen. So we can dive and delve after this. But Missing, I wanted to see Missing because I am a fan of Storm Reed, especially that last episode of The Last of Us. But I didn't see Surging. I didn't see the first movie, so I didn't feel right going into a sequel, I guess, for something that I knew nothing about. I didn't know if I needed to watch the first one, but might as well. Loved Missing. Good. Storm Reed's awesome. I can't think of anybody else in the cast off the top of my head, but it looked good. I wanted to see it, and then I realized it was a sequel, and I was like, well, there we go. But Missing in its 6th weekend got $1.1 million, or $1.01 million, and it got an average of $1,012 per theater. Yeah, that's not too shabby. With 1,006 screens, so 1,006 screens, 1,012. That's pretty spot on. I like that. That's kind of funny. But that's brought it up to $31.42 million for its North American and domestic average, and $36.67 million worldwide. That's one. How is Missing? I'm bringing my question right back up. Oh, I don't need to see Searching for it, but I should. I know people said Searching was good too. I need to check both out. But Missing is a general horror film. It's not like an indie or anything, and it's not kind of like. Jesus. I would think Jesus Revolution and Missing would both be doing well in places like Europe, because they got Jesus Revolutions going on in Europe, right? And they've got horror and thriller movies in Europe as well. But for them only to make like $3 or $4 million, when I would think it would almost be doubling their North American profit. That's interesting. I need to figure out exactly why. Well, it's not really a horror film. At best, it's a thriller. Okay. But yeah, wouldn't you think Europe, even larger markets than Europe, South America, China, all these different places, they like thriller movies. That's interesting. I need to find a reasoning behind that. I didn't see that even writing everything down on my notes or anything. That's just kind of, I'm realizing it as we speak, and now I'm intrigued. And I like a good little movie intrigue, even if it's just about movies, about movies on a surface level like this. But anyway, that's brought it to 36.67 million worldwide, and that's the last one of the ones I have yet to see. Now, let's jump in. Let's go off strong. Let's go Ant-Man and the Wasp. Quantumania. It made $31.96 million this weekend in its second weekend, which, coming to digital soon. Good. But Ant-Man and the Wasp, 31.96 million this weekend. That's a lot of money. But not for a second weekend after making, was it 106 million and 121 million, I think, for the long weekend? After making nearly $120 million in your first weekend, and the second weekend, it was 31.96. I know this was Marvel's largest drop-off. I don't remember the number off the top of my head, but that's got to be 60 to 70% drop. That sounded right. That's just god-awful, you know? Like, I wasn't the biggest fan of Ant-Man Quantumania. I feel like I'm not apologetic for it by any means, but I liked it a lot as a B movie. I didn't like it as the epic sci-fi Lord of the Rings, Star Wars kind of film that it felt like it was advertised as. It's just wow. It is a brutal hit for the start of Phase 5. I did a little live stream last week talking about it after I saw it, and Phase 5 is. I'm kind of scared. I talked about a lot of the Phase 5 projects and just kind of my excitement level after watching this, and it's really not high. I'm shocked because I've always been much more of, I guess, I've leaned more towards Marvel movies than I have DC movies. I'm just not the biggest Snyder guy. I mean, my favorite superhero movie, I think, is Watchmen, and it's always weird whenever I call myself not much of a Snyder guy because Watchmen's still my favorite not Star Wars superhero movie. But I don't like what he did with Man of Steel and anything else really. But with DC, as hesitant as I am going into the future of DC, I feel like I'm just as hesitant with Marvel, and that is scary coming off of things like Infinity War and Endgame. The Spider-Man movie, I wasn't the largest fan of No Way Home. Yeah, No Way Home. But it was great compared to Quantumania. I'm flabbergasted. That's a good word. I'm flabbergasted for what's going on. And I don't know what to be excited for. They really need Guardians 3 to be a big hit. But I'm hesitant. I'm a big fan of both of the first Guardian movies. I know people don't like the second one as much, but you play little Cat Stevens and Yondu dying at the end of that movie. I'm gonna tear up every single time. It's great. I love that. Michael Rooker's excellent in that movie. Kurt Russell's so much fun. But James Gunn has not been very high up in my books with his projects as of late. I was not a fan of Peacemaker. I like it a lot on a surface level, but every single character in that show is the exact same person, just slightly different. And that's what's happened with Marvel. And I feel like James Gunn may have brought some of that problem to Marvel. And I'm worried that that's going to happen to DC too. So I don't know what to be excited for in the superhero front anymore. When I was giving blood, donating blood earlier, while I was sitting in the lobby, there was the Hancock movie on, and I'm friends with Jay, the guy that played the kid in there, and I was like, why can't we have another superhero movie like this? Like, just something fun. That felt like Hancock is truly like the only predecessor I can think of to The Boys besides like Blade. But Blade's not even like sarcastically funny like that. Kick-Ass and Hancock feel like the things that we need. Can we have a Boys cinematic universe more so than Amazon? Maybe. I don't know. We don't need that. They're about to bring us Invincible live action. But that's enough of a tangent. Ant-Man and the Wasp was on 4,345 screens, and it made $7,356 per screen. I know. I haven't said that yet. I thought I had already said that. The shot of the guy's head going up the butt is hilarious. Will Smith, man. I'm not as big of a fan of him after all the slap stuff, but people are human, you know. Like, come on, let him have his Hancock. Let him come back from being kind of pushed out of society a little bit and have that glory he needs, you know. But to get back to Ant-Man, it's making good money. It's making great money, but it's not making great money for Marvel. And if it dropped 70%, like Zach was saying just a second ago, in its second weekend, what if it made 120 last weekend? And okay, so I have the number right here. I just have to keep reading. 1 second. Ant-Man and the Wasp made 167 million domestically so far, and 367.44 million worldwide. Okay, so that answers my question right there. The 367 million, that's got to cover the budget. I don't know if it covers the marketing budget as well, because there was actually a lot of bit of marketing, including a bunch of Super Bowl stuff for this one. But yeah, with Creed 3, which I'm seeing in an hour, I'm so excited for Creed 3. I'm so excited. I'm seeing it in 4DX too, so I don't know if that was the best decision. I wanted to see it in IMAX, but it was like $3 cheaper to see it in 4DX, so I was like, well, all right, it's still really fun. But I'm gonna get thrown around in 40. I mean, 40E is like riding around in a carnival ride. It's so much fun. But I don't know if a boxing movie was the best decision to see that in. We'll see. I'll report back in out of theater reaction later. So keep y'all's eyes out for that. But no, I don't know if Marvel's gonna make money off of this film, because look, is this gonna be Marvel's Solo? Is Quantumania going to be the first movie that's like, okay, it didn't deserve to not make money, but it kind of like the studio gets lackadaisical and just lazy, and that's what we get kind of deal. And if they lose money, hopefully that really changes their tune for phase 5. His name's escaping me. I wanted to say Jonathan Majors. I think the guy's name is Jonathan. It may just be John, but the guy that wrote Quantumania, that's writing Kang Dynasty, I don't ever hope anybody ever gets their jobs taken away from them, but hey, at least give him some really good backup for Kang Dynasty. He doesn't need to be Jeff. There we go. Jeff Loveness. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, man. I don't know if he's the guy that should be writing Kang Dynasty, but we'll see. If he continues to write it, give him some backup. He doesn't need to be the sole writer. But I wouldn't mind them switching it up a little bit, because if this is the first Marvel movie to lose money, that's going to be saying a lot, not just to Marvel and Kevin Feige, but it's going to be speaking a lot to Papa Iger, big Papa Bob Iger back there for Disney itself. And obviously, Marvel's losing some money and funding for their projects, but that's okay, because they're not doing as many projects, and they can really streamline the things they need to do with pertinence. I hope. I would assume you'd keep your fingers crossed, right? But with things like this, I don't know, man. We'll see. We will see. Ant-Man 4 may be in question now, but is it though? Actually, that's I don't know if Ant-Man 4 is in question. If they're trying to do a movie to this level of Ant-Man 4, yeah, that's in question for sure. But this didn't feel like an Ant-Man film, like it wasn't that. It's not that. Well, that's the thing. Ant-Man is typically low-level stakes comparatively to the rest of what's going on in Marvel and things like that. And this one technically felt like lower-level stakes, because you just ended up almost exactly where you were at the beginning. But obviously there were high stakes. It just didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like an Ant-Man movie. If they were to make an Ant-Man movie like they made the first two and make them more heist-like and keep them controlled, then Ant-Man 4 would be easy. They're going to make money. But if they try to do this again, I don't know. Because I love all the actors in here. Paul Rudd's great, but man, I would have thought Paul Rudd could have done something more with it, but they didn't even let him, He's just kind of... There is no main character in this movie, and that kind of it just makes me sad, man. Because I expected a lot. I heard people not liking it, and I thought, oh, it's going to be great. They got to bring back Michael Pena. They have to bring back Michael Pena, and I don't know if they can bring back T.I. T.I.'s in trouble, but David Dastmalchian too. David Dastmalchian and Michael Pena are two huge pieces of the Ant-Man puzzle, and they were missing just entirely. And I understand for this particular story, but this felt like a story that could have been an episode of What If. It didn't feel like a story that should have been front and center. David voiced the No Holes guy. Of course he did. That after Polka Dot and No Holes. I don't know what the guy's name actually is, but I'm going to call him No Holes. I like No Holes. No Holes and Polka Dot Man. He's got kind of a niche, you might say. I like David Desmalchin a lot. He's pretty funny, and he's just a great actor, great performer. But Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant-Man and the Wasp. Is Marvel kind of losing its grip? I mean, we've been asking that all of Phase 4, but is Marvel like really losing its grip now that it's Phase 5? Can we like really ask that question? Because we've kind of gotten over that bump, over the hump of Phase 4 that was like, okay, well, this is dicey, but they'll get back to it. Black Panther 2, Ant-Man 3. Whew. So next up, let's go back to something fun. Just what we started this video off talking about, because good old Movie Tuesday. This is what I went to go see yesterday for Movie Tuesday, and I'll probably go see it again. I was talking to my parents earlier today, and they're gonna go see this soon. I couldn't suggest it enough. They're like, we want to go see something. I said, what should you see? They asked, what should we see? And I said, Cocaine Bear. Go see Cocaine Bear. You gotta go see Cocaine Bear. Cocaine Bear is such a fun movie. I know it's not a great movie. It's not some Oscar-worthy film, but I was legitimately surprised the fact that it handled 3 to 4 human storylines plus the crazy bear running around having a good time, and did it well. Maybe not perfectly by any stretch, but what's perfect anyway? But it did it well. It balanced everything well, and like I said in my out-of-theater reaction, I had a legit blast. It was so much fun. I've seen it twice, both times with groups of people, yesterday with even a larger group of people. Grab all your people and go check it out. I love it. I love it. I was worried for Elizabeth Banks' career. I'm no longer worried for Elizabeth Banks' career. Directing career, not acting career. Acting career, she's got anything and everything all day. Directing wise, if she didn't nail this movie, or at least do well with it, things were going to be in question. And they're not. I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the production team behind this film was great. If Elizabeth Banks wasn't going to direct this film, it was most likely going to go to Christopher Lord and Phil Miller. No. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller. I always do that. The guys behind 21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street, the Lego Movie, the guys that were going to direct Solo before Ron Howard stepped in. We got so many Star Wars references today. You know, me and my Kyber Crystal, we're happy. We're happy. But yeah, no, I think that team behind the film was great. It definitely led to Elizabeth Banks having the right group of people behind her for that project. And you can tell how much fun they were having on set. It's not perfect acting, and I feel like a lot of the takes were like, all right, we got it, let's go. But you could just tell they're having a good time. And that's what I want from so many movies like this. Maybe not some epic Lord of the Rings, Star Wars-like fantasy that I'm hoping for out of Quantumania and then get fun, campy B-movie, because that's what we got out of it. But fun, campy B-movie out of Cocaine Bear, yes, please. It's just, it's great. It's great. I hope everybody likes it as much as I do, because I can just talk about it all day. I'll talk in circles about it. But let's delve into the details with good old Cocaine Bear. It got, in its first weekend, a grand opening of $23.26 million domestically, which is not what it was estimated to. People thought it was going to make, I think, 14 to 17, $18 million was the guesstimation. And that was even high on some people's kind of guesses. People thought it was probably going to make 8 to 11, 12 million. This is not the typical movie that goes and makes a bunch of money. Look at Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. That's the only thing to compare this to in theaters realistically to. Maybe Knock at the Cabin a little bit. Not really. Just that happens to take place in the woods as well. But Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is really the only thing that you can like conflate or compare it to. And that's not in the same category of film. Like $23.26 million is a wonderful opening. I think that might encourage Universal. Universal, I think, is the main film studio behind Cocaine Bear. I hope they do more things like this. I hope they kind of do these fun, snarky, kind of sarcastic, just humorous concepts placed into the real world. Because obviously this was a technical real story, but definitely exasperated to greatness. That being said, it was in 3,543 screens in its opening weekend, and each screen, it was making money with 6,500, and I can't read my own handwriting, $82 per theater. My money comment made me cough. But it's making money, as I said. And that's just insane because it's made $32.09 million worldwide, so it's made about another $8-9 million. About $9 million outside of the U.S. and Canada, outside of North America. That's doing well because obviously, kind of Americans like some drug fueled kind of fun campy things. I would assume Europeans do too, but they might not be so. Let's go see Cocaine Bear in movie theaters. That might be more of a couch watch for a lot of people. But they're still going to check it out. They're $9 million outside of the U.S. and Canada. Come on. Get y'all's raunchy up everywhere. North America, we always do the raunchy for everybody, but it's time for everybody to get that raunchy up. Everybody go see Cocaine Bear. It's just too good. Too much fun. So, Cocaine Bear is doing excellent. I'm ecstatic for it. I'm happy for it. And I hope it has legs. I really hope that next weekend, instead of 23 million, it makes 25 million. I don't think it will. But if it made another $18-20 million, I'm going to be a happy camper. I'm going to be a happy, happy camper. So, all right, we're down to our final two before I leave you for the evening and get ready for Creed 3 and 40X. But final two, we're going to do the other little horror or thriller, as you may say, and Knock at the Cabin, M. Night Shyamalan's newest film, made $1.87 million. Actually, we have 3 films left because I completely skipped over Avatar. And I want to talk just a little bit about Avatar, but we won't have to talk long about that. But Knock at the Cabin, $1.87 million this weekend in its 4th weekend, which is not good, especially for an M. Night movie. And especially with films making the type of money they're making right now. You would hope and you would think that someone like M. Night that has that name that just puts people in seats because they're intrigued and interested would keep people in seats and interested. I guess Knock at the Cabin is kind of a smaller movie, so it doesn't really need to make all that money back. But I mean, it's already made its budget back. It's made $34.23 million worldwide and $33.9 million North American. So it's also only had $1 million or a little under $1 million actually outside of the U.S. and Canada. That's so interesting to me. I'm going to really have to delve into those statistics and figure out why some of those things are like they are. Maybe it's just the specific regions they're released in and they're not as widespread as I think they are at the moment. Who knows? But if you do, let me know in the comments, obviously. But anyway, it was at 2,115 screens and made $884 per screen. And that's just not much, especially if Cocaine Bear is making $6,582 per screen. $884 for an M. Night. Wow. I'm just you'd expect more. You really would. I'm shocked. But we're moving on to Puss in Boots, one of my favorite movies that's come out in the past couple months. I can't believe this movie was as much fun as it was. I still just kind of think about it every now and then. And I cannot wait for more Shrek, and I cannot wait for Puss in Boots 3. It was so good. I've no idea. It had no rights being this good, and I have no idea who was the reasoning behind that, if it was the writers, if it was the directors, if it was all the voice actors, if it was a little bit of everybody. But thank you to that whole cast and crew for making that movie, because it's so much fun. And it's still doing well. It made $4.11 million in its 10th weekend with 2,840 screens still, which is a lot of screens. But with all those different screens, it's still making $1,450 on average, So, okay, let's just go back and compare that to M. Night's movie in its fourth weekend. 4 weekends with 2,115 screens, 10 weekends with 2,840 screens. That's crazy because $884 versus $1,450 in 6 weeks difference for Puss in Boots to be out for 6 weeks longer and still be making that. Wow, y'all, like that's interesting. Very interesting. Not necessarily good interesting for M. Night. You'd think it'd have more staying power. I believe part of that is because it is going to be on streaming services like this week or next week, if it's not already on there. And if that's the case, why release a movie for 2 weeks, 3 weeks? I guess you make your budget back and then you kind of just get it out there for people to see, but make your money back, dude. It's business. Yes, it's art, but it's business. It's an artful business. It's a businessful art. It necessitates these things. But anyway, Puss in Boots, back to the gloriousness, has made $173.43 million domestically, which is great. One of the highest, I think, any domestic movies made in the past kind of tail end of the year. That's very good. And $444.29 million worldwide is just phenomenal. I very much expect Shrek 4, Puss in Boots 3, and much more from DreamWorks because of that. And I hope it's all to this quality. Honestly, they didn't know if it was going to be loved as much as it has been. And they tried a different animation style, and it worked. It definitely worked. I don't know if it will work for Shrek and things like that. They could do it and save a bunch of money and keep making a bunch of money. But now that they know it's going to make $444 million for Puss in Boots worldwide and have almost as much staying power as Avatar, because Avatar's in its 11th weekend and this is in its 10th weekend, and this is still in the top 3-4 of the box office per weekend. I mean, why not? Shrek! More Shrek the merrier, right? Just give us it. But let's finish it off with a little Jimmy C, a little James Cameron. Y'all know he's on my Mount Rushmore of film directors. He's not on enough people's Mount Rushmore of film directors, but he should be. He should be. And Avatar: The Way of Water put another $4.86 million into its boat this weekend, into its spaceship this weekend, into its little side riding bag for any kind of Na'vi creature. I couldn't think of the names of any of them. But anyway, it's still making great money in its 11th weekend. It's still at 2,495 screens, and it's making almost $2,000 per screen, $1,947. James Cameron's a genius. He's a genius. I don't know how he does it. 11 weeks. No. 665. I almost read the Ant-Man one. $665.5 million domestic so far. Just wow. He's almost at the devil number. Watch out there, Jimmy C. Devil number with the extracting all that like adrenochrome, adrenal glands, whatever the hell you're popping out of them whales in Avatar. Be careful. I don't know, but it's gonna make more money than that. It's gonna be re-released, and then it's gonna make $675 million, $685 million. Yes, Shelley, nothing's better than Shrek. You might not be the biggest sci-fi person, but Shrek is love and Shrek is life for everyone. It's common knowledge, of course. The swamp brings us all together. It's good food, good people, good times. You know, But Avatar is, let me give you the very last number, because $665.5 million domestically is just ginormous. I saw a really funny video. I'm not going to try to repeat it, but it was some guy that said like 15 different versions of ginormous, gigantorous, and it was all not real words, but it was really funny. I have it stuck in my head. But anyway, besides my ADD self, Jimmy C has made $2.268 billion on Avatar 2. $2.268 billion. With B. Billion. Good Lord. He's a master at what he does. He's a genius. He's such a great filmmaker. I respect the guy with every fiber of my being. He's great. I can't wait to see Avatar 3, 4, 5, and I can't wait to see his pet projects in between them and what comes after. The guy is a genius. I can't talk about it enough. But back to the swamp. I love the swamps. Shrek 4 is what's on my mind now, and I can't wait. I'm kidding. I'm all over the place. I'm thinking about water. I like my swamps. I like my oceans with giant space whales. Speaking of space whales, I'll double back to Mandalorian real quick because I love seeing the Purrgils last night. More Mando, more space whales and space water and swamps. Just good times. The more water, the more merry. More water, merry. God, English is just not working right now. The more water, the merrier. There we go. That was a full sentence. that was a little troublesome there for a moment. Do you like LA snow? It finally snowed over here. Yes, the snow has been everywhere besides the San Fernando Valley in LA, and it finally snowed. I mean, it's hailed, I guess, once already out here, and it finally kind of like snowed and hailed today while I was going to go do all this. I was happy. I'm a very happy camper. I just wanted a little snow. It was chilly as hell. I didn't expect it. I walked outside. I was like, whoo, I'm going to grab a different jacket. But it was great. I drove through it. I was just kind of smiling the whole time, jamming out. The best thing is, my happy self. I'm listening to reggae music. I think I listened to two songs that came on. And I just pressed shuffle. One was Bob Marley, Sun is Shining. And then I think the other was Tropodelic, and it was Sunny Days. So Sunny Days and Sun is Shining were two of like the 5 or 6, 7 songs that played on the way to go get the blood work done today. And it was great. Yeah, no. The weather this week's insane. I've been in LA almost 4 years now, I think in June. And it feels like I'm back in Beaumont where I'm from because the weather like this, the weather is like this in Beaumont all the time. Texas weather is more indecisive than I am trying to figure out what I'm gonna go see on a Thursday night. Like I've never seen California have weather like this, much less LA, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I like that people are kind of starting to get used to it, even though it is great whenever it's super rainy and nobody wants to drive in LA because it's kind of like they're just terrified of water. Nobody knows what to do. Nobody knows how to drive on water or icy roads. So if the roads do ice up, it'll be fun out here for a couple days. But no, it's pretty, and the Hollywood sign looks great, of course, with the snow. But all the I really want to go hiking. Kind of if I didn't have a friend coming in this weekend, I'd go hiking up in the mountains, just like 30, 40 minutes away from LA, just because they're snow capped right now and gorgeous. And I want to go grab some snow. I want to go roll in some snow so bad. I know you're tired of hearing that, Shelly, because you have so much snow around you up in Canada, but send it down here. I want some, please. But that's all for me today. I'm going to just keep rambling on at this point. I got Creed 3, I think, 35, 40 minutes from now. I'm going to cook up a little more food and prepare for some boxing, They're going to have their hands wrapped up a little better than me, though. Proper like. Yeah. I'll send you some pics. It'll be funny. It'll be little tiny little like niblets of snow and hail compared to powder. But that's all I got. I will see y'all back tomorrow for seeing what's going on this weekend because I'll report back a little bit about Creed 3. I'll try not to spoil anything. Yell at me if I start spoiling things, of course. And I mean, we're jumping into March. It's March in movies is going to be so good. I'm so excited for March in movies. We've got John Wick 4. We've got Creed 3, like literally starting tonight / tomorrow. We've got Dungeons and Dragons. We've got Shazam 2. And there's a lot of small like indie projects that are coming out too. There's a lot of good things. Oh, new Guy Ritchie movie coming out Thursday as well. Oh, I'm so excited. I have my tickets for that, I think, for 7:30 or 8 p.m. tomorrow. I'm pumped. It's going to be a good month. It's going to be a good movie month. And we're going to be talking about the movies and the money aspect of the movies over here for the whole month. It's going to be great. It is going to be great. So that's all I got for you. If you want to say howdy to me anywhere else, Harris McGray to all socials. MCubed has socials under at M3MoMoMa, at M3MoMoMA, everywhere, or Instagram and Twitter. That's about everywhere besides YouTube for us. And yeah, that's all we got for today. And we will see you back tomorrow. Hopefully you have caught afterthoughts on Mondays for The Last of Us at the moment. We will be continuing those and finishing up the series. We'll continue these. We're going to try to get some Saturday streams going with Schmook again soon. And yeah, we'll be back and come back for more movie love and goodness on MCubed. And we'll see ya. Have a good one.